What is going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Survivor 50 Files. I am here. We're here. We got a good gang to talk about, Rosa, and I'm joined by a legend. You know her from Big Brother. You know her from Snake in the Grass. You know her from the Traitors. You know her from the
Mhm.
deception that she got back from hours ago. It's Rachel.
Hours ago. Thanks for having me. I
Oh
am
my
beyond excited to be talking to you about Survivor 50. First of all, this is such an epic cast. I hear so many people online like hater-tating. They are wrong. This is like, oh my God, Coach. Like we have Stephenie, Sabri. I mean, the fact is that like reality TV, and I was just talking about Rob too being on Traitors, but Natalie's on Traitors, Yamian's on Traitors. Since we're talking Survivor, it is just like we have so much to look forward to. We are going to be eating in the second half of 2025 and 2026. It's just like, I am so excited about who we have appearing on our televisions. Um, I can't with this.
God.
Survivor 50 cast is so good.
And it's folks that we haven't seen in a minute also, which I think,
Forever.
like Rob is on a 20-year sabbatical. There's a couple people
Yes.
on season 50, Colby, Jenna Lewis,
Hmm.
15, 20 years. And Stephenie, Stephenie we just
Yeah,
saw with you twice. But Stephenie hasn't been on Survivor in 15 years. It's
I
crazy.
know.
Tell me,
Crazy.
Rachel, what is your Survivor history? Now, do you ever watch Survivor before Big Brother, or are you a
Okay.
newer convert?
My family started watching Survivor right when it came out. First season one. Um, we were like a big reality TV, like Survivor family. Like every week it came out and aired, we were watching it with like, pizza, dinner, whatever it was. Like it was like a night, like an event. Okay. So we did that all throughout like high school, and when I got to my sorority, we did that and The Bachelor. I have to admit, we did Bachelor nights too. Um, but we were big into Survivor, Big Brother, Bachelor. Those were what you watched, and I think that's the nice like charm of those shows is that we grew up watching them differently than these kids do, right? Like you said, when you were 14, you were watching me, but like, how lucky are we that we got to grow up like having a family event watching Survivor. It was not just you know, it wasn't just like, hey, I'm going to stream Survivor to see what happens and fast forward it. It was like you watched that live. You watched the commercials and you got excited for what was going to happen next. And it was like happening right in front of you. And these people were going from like normal looking people to like being super thin, and they were just like gaming, and it was so fun. um, yeah, so that's my history with Survivor. I think I've just been really into it since the inception. Um, Lately, I've been watching it, streaming it like per usual, like everyone else. But it used to be an event, and I would love for Survivor 50 to be an event as well.
Yeah, I mean, they said in all the promotional like ad collateral, Matt Van Wagenen, who runs the show, was very much like, we want this to be like a year-long celebration of this
Yes.
now institution
Hmm.
of this show. And I'm
Yes.
excited for it because
Me
it's so
too.
funny you mentioned watching you. I think
Yeah.
that was like the second wave of these like fans. Like the first wave is what you were
Right.
in watching, and then I think I got in later, and then I think post COVID we have a whole new generation of folks,
Whole
who
new.
are
Yeah.
catching up,
Right.
knowing you. So tell me, do you remember watching Stephenie way back when? Do you remember Stephenie like on
So
Survivor?
I like I literally remember the minute that Stephenie became the sole survivor. And I remember sitting with my family saying, like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine being the only person to fight for food and to like help with shelter. And just like, I thought the fact that she was alone on the island was such a big deal. So I think like looking back at her struggles and watching her like go through this and going through the whole like everything that she went through and just like seeing her overcome it was such an amazing story. And that's why I think everyone fell in love with Stephanie, right? Like, I mean, how crazy for her to conquer all like being the sole survivor, period. But like, by the way, she was also great at competitions, and by the way, she was also great at Survivor. So it was like she was this player that we hadn't really seen.
Yeah, and not only like she is one of, to this day, the most popular people that's ever been
Right.
on the show. I
Ever.
mean,
Yeah, of course.
I know, I'm sure you know this, but she inspired the Hunger Games. Legend has it.
Yes.
She's
Legend. I did hear that. Yes. Legend
there
has
is
it.
there is an entire franchise of books and movies, everything, because The author, Suzanne Collins, is flipping through channels. This is the story, flipping through channels and sees Stephenie as the sole survivor on the beach in Palau. And then a channel later sees footage of the war that's going on at the current time in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Caused her to be like, maybe I can make a story that blends these two things together.
How
And
interesting.
years and years of the Hunger Games, which is crazy.
Crazy.
Nobody else has that under their belt that's been on Survivor. So tell
No,
me,
literally.
when did you, Rachel, meet Stephenie?
Okay, so I met Stephenie at these reality TV events that we do. And I think I met her maybe either in Temecula or in Orlando doing one of the events throughout the years. And I remember talking to her about it. I specifically remember we both had talked about, we specifically remember like this event that we were at together, but we didn't really become friends. It was like, let's talk and let's hang out. And like, that was it. And then when I became her friend was when we did Snake in the Grass together and we lived in the jungle in Costa Rica. And then like we were fast friends. And I just remember sitting there at a fire that we had built and thinking that Stephenie and Suri just built a fire in a jungle that I am on a show with them. I was like such a meta fangirl moment. Like, could you imagine being on a show in a jungle with Stephenie and Suri building a fire for you?
Listen,
Like,
I would love it. I'm
love
here,
it,
Rachel.
right?
I'm here with you. You know what I mean?
I know.
This is. I'm
Well,
thrilled to be here. But
right?
it's
Well, and
crazy.
then Sari told me, she was like, "Oh, you'd actually be really good at Survivor," because I was like having the best time just like with the bugs and like camping out and everything. And so I was like, this is the biggest compliment I've ever gotten in my life.
Well, it's interesting that never happened because you are one of the rare people that has done both Big
Yeah.
Brother and The Amazing Race. Was there ever a conversation about you on Survivor? Did it
No,
ever come up?
I applied for Survivor in 2012 after I did Big Brother and had won. And they were just like, "Look, if we want you to be on Survivor, we'll call you." So for me, I was like, "Oh man, I would love to do Survivor. I think I would be so good at Survivor. And it's always been like a dream of mine to go on Survivor just because I'm such a big fan. And I think it's a cool story. Like you said, like I did Big Brother, I did Amazing Race. Like, let's put the girl in Survivor and see if she can do the jungles. But I think like you never know. You never know what's gonna happen. Maybe it wasn't my time before. And now that I'm a mom and I'm more mature, I think I would also play the game a little bit differently, right? So, hey, you never know. Hopefully, maybe Jeff is listening to this right now. Winky
He might
wink.
be. Jeff, we're ready. Rachel and I are ready.
We're
So,
ready. Let's go. I
yeah,
have so many people ask me all the time. They're like, I would love to see you on doing Survivor. Like because I am very competitive, all the things, but we'll see. And
well,
you don't have to be uber competitive to win Survivor now.
no, you don't. You can be.
You just have to
You
be
can.
great at strategy.
Yeah, and you got social, and you've got social.
Yep.
You made it to the
I've
end.
got social.
You
I got social, I got strategy, and that's what I love about Stephenie. And like, I feel like she's just so okay. By the way, girlfriend can't lie. On Snake in the Grass, such a disaster.
well, I want to
But
talk all about it. I watched it an hour ago, Rachel.
my
I'm
God, you
dying
have
to
to.
talk about it.
Okay, listen. I have to tell you, they told us a day before we went in the jungle. Like it was not like we knew for a month or a week or like we could strategize. We didn't even know what show we were going on. So
Can
I do give her credit for that.
Can you set up the premise of Snake in the Grass just for folks who are listening? I haven't
Yeah.
seen more, Rachel, on Twitter and on like Reddit about Snake in the Grass until the past couple weeks since the
Yes.
Survivor 50 cast has come out
Right.
because it
Because
is like
there's like a big drama with Suri and Stephenie from Snake in the Grass. I'm like,
yeah,
what are these people like so confused about? So this is the okay. So we move into the jungle in Costa Rica, and there's four of us. It's me, Janelle from Big Brother, Suri, of course, from Survivor and Big Brother. Now she's on Big Brother. And then Stephenie, who was on Survivor only at the time. And we go into the jungles. One of us is a snake who is supposed to like steal the money. It's almost like a Traitors prequel. So they're like their job is to keep the money for themselves, right? And then the rest of us have to, or they can sabotage us, whatever it is. The rest of us have to figure out who the snake is, and we get clues, which is nice because we get clues. I don't think that they took into consideration that we knew each other so well. So like that we're actually friends because the clues were like they ended up being so obvious. But Stephenie also was kind of a bad liar about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Stephenie in this episode, so the word on the street, people who are talking about Snake in the Grass, they are talking about Stephenie's performance in Snake in the Grass. It's her return to reality television
Right.
after quite a few
Oh
years,
God.
over a decade. She gets picked to be this saboteur, if you will. And her
Yes.
objective is to lose the challenges for the four of you and stay undetected. Stephenie
Right.
is nearly immediately detected. It is a very
Right.
quick detection from all of you guys. Talk me through that. Now, like we see on the show, she tears up a couple of the clues. Everybody's pretty suspect of her, but was the edit accurate too? Was she clocked immediately as lying to the three of you?
I would say yes and no. So the edit for her, like, okay, there's a part of the episode where Janelle and I are like, it's obviously Stephenie. And Serene's like, it's obviously Stephenie. But we never knew for sure because Janelle still said, I think it's Rachel. And Serene was thinking it was me. And then what really did her in was when her job was to sabotage this so we didn't get another clue. And she tipped the boat over. And then I was willing to dive to the bottom of the ocean, swim back to shore. And then because I was so willing to swim back to shore so that we got that clue, Sari and Janelle immediately knew that I was not the snake or the saboteur, whatever you want to call it. And they started saying, okay, it's obviously Stephenie. The clues again were super obvious. But I thought it was really interesting how they edited our episode versus all the other episodes kept you guessing the whole time. And ours, they kind of told you that Stephenie was the snake.
Yeah, I mean, it was so, I think, obvious to them and to all of you that it was just easier to just get it out front in the edit that
Yeah,
it was Stephenie. Yeah, Stephenie, to reset what Rachel's saying, they're all in a boat paddling. Rachel jumps out to go get this clue in the middle of the ocean.
right.
And to try to sabotage, Stephenie literally flips the entire
Flips the
boat over,
boat.
flips the boat. And
Yeah.
Sari, we all know Sari. Sari's not the biggest fan of just,
Mm-mm.
that
Water.
situation.
Yeah, she doesn't like.
Water as a
She
whole.
didn't want to go swimming at all. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you, like you just said, you grab the clue, you get back to shore, you count you guys pass the challenge, and then it is immediately outed that Stephenie, because that clue out Stephenie, that she's a liar. Talk me through how bad of a liar Stephenie is. It seems like Stephenie's a really bad liar.
She was such a bad liar on this. I don't know if it was just like us confronting her and her just like dancing around the subject or what it was because she does have strategy and she does have a social game. I just think when it comes to a bold-faced lie, she's just not made for lying because like we would look at her in the eyes and just say, you're the snake, and she would be like, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, what are you talking about? And like it was so obvious because like nobody would react like that. um so it's funny, but I do think she learned so much from that, and she learned a lot from Traitors. So I think we're going to see a different Stephenie on Survivor 50. I truly believe girlfriend has been practicing every day. Like I'm telling you, she has been working out, she has been doing balance challenges, she's been doing weights, like everything you need to do to prepare for Survivor. She has been doing it for months because she's like so excited about the opportunity to go back.
Well, it's interesting that you say that there's even been more of an improvement past Traitors. Did you notice a change in her like demeanor and personality in between Snake in the Grass and Traitors? Snake in the Grass filming just a couple months before the Traitors films.
Um, well, it wasn't so I wouldn't say like a change in personality off camera, but I noticed a change in her demeanor when we were in the castle, which made me immediately know I could trust her and that she was not a traitor. Um, and she was just a lot more easygoing, a lot more ready to kind of suss out who was lying to us. And it felt like she was more, um, I don't know, it felt like she was more comfortable with being in that situation again, as opposed to, like we had said, when she was on Snake in the Grass, coming back from like a, 10-year hiatus. It was like, I think she was like just caught off guard that she was the snake too. So she really brought it out with the next one.
You do Big Brother, twice in
Yeah.
really essentially a year. You do the Amazing Race pretty quickly,
Yes.
one after the other. What is it like having to like snap back into game mode that quickly after doing one of these experiences?
I think it's easier because so what happened between 12 and 13, I was really trying to like focus on anything but going back on Big Brother on 13. So on Big Brother 13, they gave me a envelope and they were basically like, "Hey, do you want to do Amazing Race?" So immediately I know it's going back on, and I immediately started training. So I immediately could start figuring out my strategy, right? So same thing with like Snake and Traitors. I knew after going on Snake, I was like, okay, I need to really come into my own on like strategy and figure out how to like mentally play another game that's similar to Big Brother, but also similar to Snake in the Grass, where I am responsible for figuring out who's traitor and who's lying to me. So I think for Stephenie, that those two experiences are going to prep her so much for Survivor 50. And like, by the way, I want to clear the air. Stephenie and Suri have no beef. Stephenie was talking about how she wants to work with Suri. She was excited to play with Suri. They have such a good friendship. So I don't know why there was this like misinformation going around on another podcast. But as far as I know, they are both smart gamers and they're both like you know, mature women who are going to work together and do what's best for their game. They both want to go in and win. So at the end of the day, they're going to do what's good for them to win.
It's so funny you mentioned that because I wanted to ask you specifically about
Yeah.
Suri. Like Suri's on
Yeah.
Snake in the Grass with you. You guys win
Yes.
together, and then you're back in the castle, or you're back with Suri in a castle. What was that like for you playing with Suri for the second time, where she ultimately does win that show?
Yeah, I mean, I was so excited for her. She played such a great game. It was like really hard because I wanted to just think Suri was not a traitor and she was on my team, but she was on the other team. And so I think I knew it was Sari when I got blindsided on the Traitors. And after that point, I was like, man, I mean, she did play such a good game. You got to give it to her. It's Sari. Like, what do? She's so good at these, strategically good, socially great. Sari makes you feel so comfortable. You just talk to her. She makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. She makes you feel like you're her number one alliance member. So it's just real. And she does it in a way that's not malicious. It's not like hurtful. It's just the Sari way. Sari could teach a seminar on how to like socially smooth over every situation.
Well, it's so funny. Like even in the Snake in the Grass episode I just watched, like it's never suspected as Suri. Like you
No,
get suspected at
never.
a certain point.
Yeah.
Janelle does also. It ultimately is Stephenie, but everybody knows it's not Suri. Like
Yeah.
it's
No,
such a funny way that she
they
has it right.
literally like asked us in an interview, do you think it's Sari? And I was like, there's no way it's sweet Sari. Like she's like a grandma. She's like the sweetest woman ever. Like she is not the snake. I
That
just
is
didn't
so
believe
funny.
it. Didn't
What is
believe
it?
it for a day.
I don't know if I know this about the when you get out of Traitors, when you're eliminated from Traitors, you and Stephenie are back to back eliminated, I believe, in Traitors, just within
Yes.
a couple days. Are you guys hanging out after that, or do you go right home? You don't see Stephenie after the game.
No, we did get to see each other right after. So I was eliminated. I was murdered. Sorry, I was banished. She was murdered. And then we both got to like we would have seen each other afterwards, but then there was like a big COVID lockdown again. So we had like we I didn't actually get to travel home with her, which was kind of disappointing.
So did you guys have a minute to like debrief and kind of agree that it is most definitely Suri who is the traitor?
I did see her for a minute and we did get to, yes.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the people who are excited to see Stephenie again are so excited to see her back in that strategic mindset because she
I
is
think
like she
so.
makes it to the end of Survivor Guatemala her
Of
second season.
course. Yeah.
She's very good.
Yeah, she's so good. I mean, I think Stephanie is gonna make it to the end 100% on Survivor 50. I would be surprised. I mean, look, she has been working so hard and training and like I think she's so great at like talking to people and her social game and strategy is great. I would be surprised if she didn't win Survivor 50. I really believe fully that she could win Survivor 50, but if not win, I think she will 100% make it to the end.
Yeah, people are, and she has a good amount of people who are from her like era of the
A
show that
thousand
are there
percent.
with her.
She has that era, and then she also has this other group that she met through. I think like they've all like we all meet each other, right? So like, when I saw the cast, I felt like it was definitely possibility that she probably would know some of these people because we've done events with them.
Yeah, I mean, I think here I'll actually bring it up here. Just even looking at this top row, I mean, her and Colby are on a tribe
Yeah.
together. Her and
Yep.
Suri are on a tribe together. Her and Coach play alongside each other in Heroes versus Villains for a brief time. So she
Yeah.
does have quite a few of those connections. I'm
Yeah.
curious to see, who do you think that she'll get along with the best from the new era side of the season?
Well, that Angelina girl, or is she considered new era, or is she considered old?
She's very late old era, but they're
Okay.
very similar in terms of when they
Yeah.
played. It's only a
I
year
mean,
or two
I
different.
would see Dee and Tiffany, her Suri working with them. And then didn't I feel like that recently a bunch of these new Survivor people just went to this event that we just did in Florida. So I think that
Oh
they all
yeah.
met there. I swear I thought Tiffany was there. I think a
I
few
think
Q was
I think
there.
Q was. I believe Jonathan definitely
I
was.
think Jonathan
Um,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jonathan really feels like Stephanie's kind of guy. It
I
feels like
think
a
so. I
very
could
like
see
match
Jonathan and
made
her
in
working
heaven
together. Yeah.
for those two.
Yeah. And I think too, Jonathan, he's the one from Alabama, right?
Jonathan, yes, I think he's on the Panhandle somewhere. I think
Okay.
he's
Somewhere in the South.
yes.
Yeah. I think that I think they'll get along really well. I think I think she has a great chance of working with a lot of these people. I don't see them, what happened with Winners at War, where they just went new team, got rid of old school. I don't think that will happen on this. I
Yeah,
think we'll see a lot more like people working together.
I think so too. I think that I mean there were
Do we have
some.
any spoilers yet?
You don't have to, I'm listen, Rachel. I'm dying to know spoilers. But
Dying.
I'm remaining unspoiled just for sake of. I mean, not that I would
Okay.
hear anything anyway, but for the sake of this podcast, I want to go in with everybody because we're talking about everybody, every single person. So I want to remain objective, but I'm dying to know. Oh my god, do I want to know so bad? I want to know so bad.
Same. Same.
I do want to bring in. We have somebody else who's here, who Rachel,
Ooh.
very well.
Oh
Um, they're the first season of the Traitors. This one,
my gosh, who?
this is Michael Davidson, known Survivor superfan,
Michael! Oh
friend.
yes, he is a Survivor super fan. Oh,
Hello.
oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. We were just
I
on a
just
cruise
I
together.
feel like I just saw you last week and again
I
last month.
know. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Tell me while we're here. Tell me, Michael, how was the cruise? You just did the cruise of deception, the Big Brother cruise. How was it?
Oh
They
my
they were so
gosh.
fun.
Listen, they were like a ton of fun. Like it
Stephanie
was
was on our
so
cruise.
yeah, Stephanie was on our first cruise last month
Cruise
in
of
April.
Deception.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it went from like end of April into early May. Stephanie was on that with us. And then it was really hard for me to like be a fan and be a host. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh my God, it's Brittany Haynes. But,
Yeah.
I couldn't do that because Brittany Haynes would have been like, who is this weird guy and why is he here? You know what I mean? So I had to be like playing it cool. I'm like, hey, Brittany, what's up? But on the inside, I'm dying. Hey, Brittany, what's up? Like it was so much fun. Like it was incredible. Like my life is insane. Like,
We did
I
have
don't
a
know.
good time.
Yeah, so much
Well,
fun.
Michael, I think you have like the most interesting perspective about playing with Stephanie. As somebody who came into the Traitors, not expecting to,
Team Stephanie.
not expecting to play with reality people, let alone somebody that you watched, 20 years ago in 2005, 2006. So talk me through watching Stephanie for the first time way back when.
Oh my gosh, I can remember being a kid and my mama raised me, and so she was like 70 something years old when she took us in. So she raised me and my sister, and there just wasn't physically a lot she was able to do due to her age. And so we sat around and we watched reality shows together and we trash talked people on reality TV. That's just what we did. And like I remember watching Stephanie, and I like at the time, like I used reality TV as an escape from my reality. And so like it was just, I don't know, like seeing these people, and like I remember watching Stephanie, I was like, I wish this girl was my sister. Like she's so strong, she's so like persevering, like she's
Hmm.
so like inspiring to watch. Like I need a personality like Stephanie in my life, and like I adopted her from TV into my life. And I don't know, and like the same thing with Suri and people like Rachel, watching them on Big Brother, and it was like I don't know, like it was just mind blowing when I got to Scotland. It's funny because um, I knew instantly because we sat down on this train and they had like our name tags in front of us. And I was like, I only know one Cerie, so unless this is like a little white girl in Kansas, I'm about to be like just blown away right now because I know there's a twist. And I asked Andy, who was sitting beside of me, I was like, "Can what is that name?" And they're like, Siri, and I'm like, you don't know. You don't know. You don't watch Survivor. You don't know. And I saw Rachel, and I did for a second think Rachel Riley, but I thought also they're not going to give me Sari and Rachel at the same table. So I don't know who. Maybe Rachel's another newbie. I didn't know. And then I instantly was asking everybody, what are the name tags in your seat? What are the name tags in your seat? And the girl next to me, she's like, I have a Stephenie and a Kyle. And I'm like, Stephenie, I only know one Stephenie, but it wouldn't be her because she's not played these games in a long time. Maybe it's like a housewife. I don't know these housewives. And so when I see Stephenie get on the train, I'm like dying. And so my first meeting with her, I'll never forget. I was so excited. She was wearing this like purple velvet dress and like her thighs were showing. And I'm telling you, that girl was ripped. Okay. Like
So
just
ripped.
like,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous. I
the
know.
muscles in her
I
legs. I'm
know.
just like trying so hard not to stare because she would think I was a creep. But really, I was like a fan and just blown away at how beautiful she was.
Yeah.
And she comes up to me and I'm like, hi, how are you? And she's like, I hear you're a big Survivor fan. I was like, yes, I am. And she's like, well, here, let me get that thread off your jacket. And she pulls a thread off my jacket. And I was like, that's lovely. And then she just walks away. And I'm like, nice. That's wonderful. That was my
Your
first.
little heart melted.
Yeah, I was like, that's my first meeting with Stephenie LaGrossa right there. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Were you guys off to like during the game, just the couple rounds there? Were you guys like fast friends in the castle? What were was she somebody that you sought comfort from when you were there?
Honestly, no, not right away. Rachel and Sari were, but Stephenie was not. And again, listening to you guys backstage, you guys were talking about like the people she would hit it off with, the Jonathans and the Joes. I'm not a Jonathan or a Joe. We didn't hit it off right away. And it was kind of nerve-wracking because that first round table, if you go back and watch, she initially voted for me and then erased her vote and then changed it to Geraldine. And like it was devastating me because I wanted to work with her because I was such a fan, but she's like, this guy, he don't have it together, he don't bring strength, he don't bring strategy, and she was having no part of me. And so but after that first round table, that's when we connected after that first banishment. But yeah, it took us a while. We didn't right away. So
I want to know from both of you, what skill does she have, Stephenie, that you think will prove to be like the thing that will carry her in Survivor 50? Like what is that thing that she has that other people don't have as good as she does? Or this like lightning in a
I
bottle
mean,
skill?
she's so strong and she's so she's gonna have every endurance down pat. Like I
yes,
just feel like she's strong, but she's also mentally strong. Like she's not gonna give
exactly.
up.
100%. And
She
she is
wants
so
it so bad too. Like that's
yes.
the thing. I don't know how bad these other people want it, but like she wants that W. Like that is her W to lose.
Yeah, she has that grit. She has the
Yeah.
determination. Like she's been so close to the win multiple times and never got it. But like she does have that connection with the old schoolers. She has the
Yeah.
strength and the challenges. She has the mental capacity to do
Yeah.
well. And I do think she'll bond well with Joe because his wife is a professional athlete. Her husband
Oh,
is a professional
perfect.
athlete. Obviously, her and Jonathan are going to be great. So no matter which way they go, I feel like she has a strong alliance and a meat shield. What it's really going to boil down to with Stephenie is who's on her initial tribe. She's proven that she can outlast everyone.
Mhm.
On her tribe by herself. But I feel like what it's going to boil down to is who's on her initial tribe. Because if she has the Joes, the Jonathan, Ozzy, Kobe, she's got an old school mentality. She's going to stick with people like Jenna. She's going to stick with people like Ozzy and Sari. But she also like leading up to it, she was texting me and she's like, okay, so I've not watched in a really long time. She's like, give me backgrounds on information on people. I don't need to know like how they placed in the game. I don't need to know what their strategy is. Give me the background. So I'm like sending her screenshots of like Emily and Genevieve at ball games together, and I'm like, these two were tied. You know, and I'm like, obviously you got Angelina and you got Parvati who are tied. They hang out. Parvati
Yeah.
and Suri are tied. You can use that connection to pull some, and we discussed all of that. And she was looking through everything, and she's like, okay, Chrissy's the mom that got screwed out with the fire making challenge. I feel like I
Mhm.
can relate to that. And I want to be with a strong mom, and like we were going through everything together. So she's definitely prepared as far as who everybody is. And I think I do. I think she'll do really well depending on her initial tribe. If she gets her footing, I think she's an end gamer for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a particular thing, both of you, that she will struggle with adapting to this new season of, it's been 15 years since she's been on Survivor, although she's done some stuff recently. What is like the thing that you would be most worried about her falling into once she gets there?
I mean, blind loyalty. She's
Yeah,
super loyal, and I think she like blindly follows people without remembering that they are there to play a game too.
yeah.
Like, I do worry that she's gonna just get into an alliance and be super loyal. She's very loyal. Like, I don't see her betraying people.
People betraying her would be their
Right.
biggest mistake. Like honestly, like
100%.
if if you make a bond with Stephenie and you betray her, you just shot yourself in the foot. Because I can
I
promise you,
agree.
she's loyal to you to the end. She's a very old school mentality, very
Hmm.
strength oriented, very loyal. She's not one of those like voting block top players. She's a very like locked in player.
Agree.
Yeah, she's going to be in a situation too where, this is now, she played 39 days. She played, I think, 30 the first time. This is quicker. Like there's no dead
Yeah,
days. You're going to the island to find the advantage, to get the key, to do the thing, and I wonder
But
how she will.
we've had that because Traitors was so quick
yeah.
and Snake in the Grass was so quick. So I don't think that that's going to be a problem. I don't think she's going to have the sprint affect her gameplay. I think it might even behoove her.
Yeah. And I also agree with that. And like I said, she also has the meat shields. She's in the strong
Yeah.
alliances. Like I know she will hit it off with Joe and Jonathan. I would be floored if she didn't. And like when people are coming to hey, let's vote somebody out. Jonathan is stronger than Stephenie. Sari is a bigger strategist than Stephenie. Joe has more friends than Stephenie. I mean, he literally has two other people from his same season. You know what I mean? And so I feel like she's going to be the low man on the totem pole in her alliance if you look at it from strength or strategy because she has Sari, who is I call her the cerebral assassin. Like she's phenomenal. And like I do, I feel like she will do really well depending on
Yeah.
that initial tribe.
How do you think Sari looks on this season of Survivor 50?
Listen,
I'm worried for her. I mean,
I'm worried for her also, but at
yeah,
the same time, she pulls it out every time. You know what I
she
mean?
does pull it
Like
out. She does.
how she went into Big Brother, like she went
I
into
know.
Big Brother and finished what, final five was it? Final
Uh-huh.
four?
Yeah.
Like, how in the world did you convince these people to let you get that far, knowing like Blue knew, Izzy knew that they were that your son was there. Izzy even said, I'll take the back seat and let you take Jared. What the heck is wrong with you, girl?
I
This is
think though,
$750,000.
okay, since Suri did Survivor, she has done Snake in the Grass and Traitors and Big Brother and Survivor Australia, and she won the Traitors. And she did Big Brother. She did really well in Big Brother. So I think that people now know that, and I do think that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for her. But
Yeah,
I want to say I think she's so good with that social game, and people don't find her threatening, so I don't think she's going to be their first target. I just don't know where she falls in the line of like, oh crap, Suri's still here, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, I think it'll be like no big deal, and then I wonder if people are going to be like, how are we letting Suri get to the end again? You know?
yeah.
So I do
There
worry for her, just because we know how these are. We know how these games go. We know how people see someone that's won so many things. But you know who's going to get to the end is that Mike White. because
Okay.
they all want a cameo in White Lotus.
Yeah.
Listen, I want a cameo in the White Lotus.
I want a
My
cameo in White Lotus.
yeah. There are two people here, Rachel, and there maybe is more, but I'm going to go off the two that I know of. Angelina and Aubrey are both now playing Survivor,
Yeah.
after having just been a mom since their last time being on.
Yes.
What are these changes? What are the changes in your strategy once you now become a mom? You live through doing that, and then you return to one of these shows.
That's a great question. Wow. Wow. I was so the first time I did the first time I did Amazing Race, I stopped, not the first, maybe the second time. I stopped breastfeeding my um 2-year-old so that I could go on Amazing Race. And so my brain was still mommy world. When I did Snake in the Grass, I was still breastfeeding my son, pumping in the middle of the jungle. And I remember like my brain was also still in mommy world. So I do think it makes a difference, but I think that it also makes you more determined and it makes you more focused on what you're there for. Because pre-babies, pre-relationships, you're very laissez-faire. It's, you're having a good time, you're on the show, it's a great, fun, exciting thing. You have no responsibilities. Post family responsibilities, kids, you're very focused on why you're there and what the end game actually looks like for you. So I think that's going to be a big deal for them. I think, God, that Aubrey, she's going to do great, I think. I
I
don't
I
will
really
think
know
so.
say,
Angelina well, but I think Aubrey will do great.
I love Angelina. I will say, me and Stephenie discussed this that they just had children, and she was talking like you said, we were discussing common ground that she could have with everyone, and she's like, "Oh, they're moms,
Yeah,
like I'm going to miss my children so much. I'm definitely going to bond over children." And it wasn't like a conversation being had to like manipulate people. It was like a genuine concern. I've not met these new players. What can I do to bond with them? How can I bond with them? And
right.
so when I say that stuff, I don't want you to think it was like, oh, you're going to manipulate them and prey on their personal lives. But Stephenie did talk about the fact that they were moms and she's a
Yeah,
mom. And she's like, hopefully we can bond over that because obviously in these games, you want to look for anything you can to make a connection with someone that you've never met. Um,
yeah.
and so she is aware that they are both new moms. We had that discussion.
I
So
think it'll
Well,
be, yeah, I think that will be something they can all bond on. And 3 too, right? Like,
yeah,
and by the way, when you're in a show and you don't have a lot of like anything to talk about and you're just after the days pass and it's nice to have someone that you can like say, "Oh my god, what's that like?" Like, I remember being a mom, a new mom, that kind of thing, and it just really does comfort you to know that someone else is going through that experience with you. So I do think that is a great person for Stephenie to work with as well.
yeah.
what other nuggets, Michael, do you have from Stephenie's pregame situation? You've got all the you built the dossiers, which is
I know,
it's
apparently.
it's a great role.
Well, I mean, like I said, she just kind of reached out and was like, um, I've not watched. Fill me in. Like, fill me in on who has an unbreakable bond outside of this thing because I'm like, she doesn't attend a lot of the events. Like, the event in Orlando, she goes like maybe one day and then goes home. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't go to the Bryson Wynn events. She doesn't attend this stuff. She's a mom. She goes to sporting events.
Yeah.
And so she was like, please fill me in on everything. So I was like, okay, well, I follow this person. And at that time, there was a huge rumor that Andy from 47, I think it was 47, 48, 40, one of those 47 was
47,
on.
yes.
And I'm like, okay, if Andy is there, like, and I'm sending her like Instagram photos of screenshots that I've got, and I'm like, he literally just went on vacation with Rachel in like Korea, and I'm like sending her all these photos, and she's like, I don't know. She's like, that's like so overwhelming. It's just so like I feel like their bonds are going to be so strong. If I end up on a tribe with them, I'm doomed. And like she was like she had these nerves and everything, but obviously, like I said, we found like common ground that she had with everyone, and she's like, okay, I can focus on this, I can hone in on this, and say, look, even though this may be your best friend that you go watch the Bills with, I still. My husband is a professional athlete. I'm also a huge sports fan,
Yeah.
and she was trying to find common ground with people. And that's what she does best. She's a genuinely, like, such a great person. She really
Hmm.
is a genuine good person and she wants to form genuine relationships. And
I
so
agree.
I think her interest in what their interests are, um, will shine for her. I really do.
100%. She's such a sweet person and she's such a fiercely loyal friend. And she, when she bonds with people, she's not just doing it to like, hey, let's talk about the game and this will
Yeah,
benefit me this way. I think she genuinely takes an interest in people. And I think that's why sets, that's what sets her apart as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want
She's
to ask
not
you
one of those
both.
people that's in game mode constantly.
Certainly. Which you need to, like these games are quick, but there is that downtime still exists. It's not 2 days anymore, whether it's 3 hours, but you do need to, be able to take yourself out of it for a second. Which of these people, Rachel, if there's any, have you had experiences with that aren't Stephenie and Suri? Have you run into anybody? Have you have good experiences with any of the folks that are playing Survivor 50?
Yeah, a lot of the older people. I think I must have met Q. Whoever was at this last Orlando event, I met them and they were all so nice. The problem is like we don't have a lot of time either when we go to events to meet everyone and to get to hang out with them. So a lot of people, unless I've done shows with them, I don't really become close friends with them. But
I I imagine you've run into Ozzy a few times, just because I know
I've definitely
Ozzy.
run into Ozzy a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's great. He
Yeah.
really has been like putting in the work at these events. Like he's been on the circuit since
Yeah.
season 50 has been rumored,
Absolutely.
which I think
Yeah.
is intentional. Michael,
Yeah.
how about you? When you watch the show, is there anybody here that you're seeing that you have particularly strong feelings about? New Era or some of the older folks?
I do think Genevieve obviously is like, I think she's going to give Sari a run for her money in the strategy department. But also, like, historically in these games, like when you bring somebody back in a returning season, it's typically the underdog. Like we saw it with Boston Rob in All Stars. He was pre jury boot his first time around. He wasn't really a threat. They went after people like Jenna and Ethan, and those people like Rob made it to the end because no one was a target right away. We see it again, like even with Amber in All Stars. It's happened like Sandra in Heroes versus Villains, Sarah Lacina. Like we see it. So I fully think Tiffany is going to do really well based
Yeah.
solely on that. I don't think she's going to be a target right away. Um, I hope Angelina does well because she's like foot to the floor, wide open, never lets up. And a lot of people like will say that they carried her to the end in David versus Goliath just because they knew she was going to be that losing vote finalist. Angelina doesn't get carried anywhere. She doesn't grab hold of coattails. She goes wide open herself and gets herself there. She does it very messy, and so she probably doesn't get the jury votes. But the thing with Angelina this time around is she is such an iconic player. She does have the friendships. She does have all these people who watched her season was like, oh my God, she's so funny. She's so great. So if she goes wide open again and makes it, I think she might get the jury votes. So I'm going to say Genevieve or Angelina or even Tiffany is possibly going to be the winner.
Oh, that's a
Do
good
you,
winner
Rachel?
prediction.
Do you
I
have a winner
predict
prediction?
Stephenie. I want to predict Suri, but I just don't have faith that Suri, after everything, I just am worried that people will target her. But I would love to see Suri win. I would absolutely, it would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that people are not going to just be like, oh, Suri just won Traitors and this, that, and the other. You know who is going to win? Mike White. Mike White's already the winner.
Listen,
He's my winner.
I know,
priority picks
right?
is number one, Stephanie, number two, Sari, number three, Angelina, and number four, Jonathan, and number five, Kobe. Those five,
Okay.
I like those. If
I
any of
think
those five
Jonathan
win,
gets I think they go after him after they're done using him because
yeah, he's going to be a merge boot for sure.
he yeah, and he's too strong to take to the end because he's just not going to lose stuff. So you almost
Like I
have to
think,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
Genevieve will either go early or go all the way.
yeah,
Like if they let her stick around, she's going the whole way. And
yeah,
what she has going for her, she has people like Sari who
yeah,
overshadow her a little bit.
absolutely.
But if she can stick around, I think Genevieve's got it in the bag. I
Yeah.
really do. Um, and I'm hoping Stephanie does, but
Me too. I would love to see Stephenie.
that
Well,
blind
hey guys,
loyalty though might get her.
I have to go because we're getting the kids dinner. But I'm so sorry to cut you off, Michael.
Please.
Yes. So I do have to go.
Thank you
Is that
so
okay?
much.
Yes.
Oh my God, of course. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
I
you
want
for
to ask Mike
having
about the
me.
Traitors, but we will
Yeah.
chat. We'll chat soon, all right?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to come on back, talk whenever. We'll get together and talk all Big Brother, Survivor, all the things.
Enjoy. We'll chat
Thank
soon.
you.
And
All right.
listen, good
Thanks for
luck.
having me. Yes, thank you.
Bye. So while we're here, I was going to ask Rachel, but you were there.
Yeah.
My boss, the empire runner of Rob is a podcast, Rob Cesternino, is
Yeah.
on the Traitors.
I know. I'm so excited for him.
Tell me about getting there and the shell shock of being in the castle. Now, you have these reality folks who have done this process before, but I'm sure it's nerve-wracking for everybody to enter in. So tell me what it's like just to get there, and what should your opening day look like in the castle?
Oh my God. Listen. Okay. My baseline is nervous. Okay. Like, that's just something you have to know about me. My baseline is nervous. I'm a geek. Like, I love all things reality TV. So I show up, and like I was mentioning earlier, I instantly see Suri and Rachel. We connect. We get out at the castle. I'm not a big personality. I'm very nervous. I'm very shy. I'm very awkward. Like, people tend to like me because I'm relatable, or people tend to like me because I'm like low key entertaining because they love watching me be a mess, not
Sure,
because I'm like some big loud personality like Rachel Riley.
sure,
So we get there and we pull up, and I've been asking them all. I was like, "Is it like a legit castle, or is it just a big house?" I was asking them, and they're like, "You have to see it. You have to see it." And so we pull up and we get out, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" And everybody's like, "Ah!" And I'm like, "Oh my God, this place is massive!" And I'm just like dying at the sight of this because I've never seen a castle before, and everyone is like hyping it up. You had the reality TV personalities who were hyping it up just for TV, hoping to get airtime. And I go in, it is so cold and drafty. It is exactly what you would think a castle would be like. Um, yeah, it was insane. And they asked me in my interview, and it actually made air in my first confessional. They're like, "What do you think of this castle?" And I'm like, "Brother, my whole house would fit in this thing like 700 times. Like, this place is huge. And we were sitting around in the billiard room one day, and we were just talking, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" And Kate's like, what?" And I'm like, "I wasn't listening. I was looking around the room. I was looking at the detail of the walls." And she's like, "Well, that's shady." And I'm like, "That's just who I am. I'm sorry." I don't know what to say. But it was just incredible. And then being there with people like Suri and Stephanie and Rachel, um, it was a lot. It was so much to take in on day one. And if you watch, my personality progresses as I go along. I started out quiet, and then I started out scared because I was getting targeted. And by episode three, I get my own footing, and I start to defend myself, and I start to have fun and starts to joke around. But yeah, in the beginning, it was just, I don't know. I'm very excited to see Rob though.
it'll be a good time. The cast looks good. Is there anybody from the cast that stands out to you and you wish you were there with them when they were, if they were on season one? Who would you pick?
Oh gosh. Probably Steven from Laguna Beach, just because I love Laguna Beach. I mean, let's be honest, they made Journey Don't Stop Believing. They brought it back.
Is
Steven
that
and
real?
LC Steven and LC in that car whenever he was singing, whenever they were singing carpool karaoke to Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah.
That's what made that song a hit after so many years. That's what revived that song and made it the hit that it is now.
Here I
But
am thinking that was the Sopranos that did that, but it was Laguna Beach this
no,
whole
it
time.
was it was Steven and LC from Laguna
Sure.
Beach. I love Natalie Anderson. I can just see her. Did you vote for who I told you to vote for? I don't know. I love her. I think she's great. Jam Jam is such a fun personality. I've met him and hung out with him a few times. He's hilarious. I don't know how well he would be as a traitor, just because he's such a lovable teddy bear. You know what I mean? And he's so
I think
fun.
he sticks out so much. He
Yeah,
sticks out in a group of 1,000 people, let
yeah,
alone 23, where they are picking a CBS person almost assuredly every time.
yeah,
So I feel like it's a death wish to have him be the traitor. But listen, he has, I mean, socially, he makes it to the end of
yeah,
Survivor despite being that.
yeah.
So who knows?
I don't know. I'm very, very excited. Um, Yeah, I don't know who Tara Lipinski is. I don't know who Johnny Weir is. I don't know a lot of these people. I don't watch the Housewives.
I'm so excited to see all of it, Survivor 50 and the Traitors. Michael,
Same.
thank you so much for, not to peek behind the curtain. You have active COVID as of a couple hours ago, and I'm so
I
thrilled
do.
that you're here.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Again, like you are and have been known as like a Survivor super fan in the space, and now like you are, I think for the first time now, getting to see like a very good friend go and compete on it, which is crazy.
Yes. Yes, I'm so excited. As I do have this little sticker, Team Stephenie. I am rooting for her. I hope she does amazing. I really do. I am worried about her blind loyalty. She's such a great person overall. Like she's genuinely one of the best people I've ever met.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping she does well. I'm hoping that she doesn't have that blind loyalty. I'm hoping that she realizes this is probably my last shot to play. Um, I'm turning on anyone and everyone that I can if it advances me in the game. We'll
Yeah.
see if she has that in her, though.
I am so excited to see it. Michael, thank you so much for coming. Is there anything you want to promote? Anything you want people to check out?
Not right now. No, ask me again in a
Nothing.
few months.
Listen,
So
we'll see.
we'll see.
Thank you, everybody. We will be back next time with another episode of the Survivor 50 Files. Thank you for tuning in. I've been really trying to perfect this outro. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.